Hi scrapbookers and crafters, this is Michelle Sizemore here. I'm a Creative Memories advisor, and today you'll learn how to make this Christmas border. I used the Magic of Christmas collection of papers. I also used a red cardstock, gold shimmer paper, a dark green cardstock, a Kelly green shade of green cardstock, cranberry, and red. And I will just tell you, I normally don't do things that are this time consuming. I really like to do quick and easy, fast pages. That's kind of what I'm known for. But every now and then, I think it's fun to play around and see what I can come up with. So I'm going to show you how to do this. It is a little bit tedious, but I know some of you like that. So I wanted you to learn something kind of out of the box from what I usually do. Okay, this is everything I used. I used the 12-inch trimmer. I used the new twist blade, the straight blade. I used micro scissors. We have red ones for Christmas. I used the Stacked Presents Border Maker cartridge. The Border Maker system, I used a ruler and a repositionable tape runner. So I'm going to set my tools aside for the moment. And let's get started. So I'm going to start with the base part, not the packages. And let's just pull out the papers. Now I kept this green because I think I would use it as a background, which I'll show you what they'll look like at the end. And then I have Post-it notes on here telling me what size to cut everything. So I'm going to cut this blue, and all of these papers are from the Magic of Christmas collection, except for the cardstock. So this is a blue. It's a very light blue with little dots on it. It needs to be 1 1/4 inches wide. So I'm going to go to the 1 1/4 inch mark. And the blade is going to come down right here on this left-hand side dotted line. And let's just double check that. That is exactly what I need. So I'm going to set my scrap aside. Next, I'm going to cut 2 strips of this fun plaid to about 3/4 of an inch wide. Does not have to be perfect. It does need to be 12-inch long. A lot of it is going to go underneath paper, so I say about 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to go to about 3/4 of an inch, and I need to cut 2 strips like that with the straight blade. I'm going to just do the same thing. Make sure it's lined up all the way down here. So that's my 2 strips of the plaid. Now I'm going to cut 2 strips with the straight blade, the same size, about 3/4 of an inch. I'm not being perfect on this because, again, a lot of it is going to go underneath other paper. So I'm not being as precise with this as I need to with some other things. Now, I want to cut 2 strips of this red that are about 3/4 of an inch, but I want to do it with the twist blade. I love this new blade. Okay, so I'm going to open up my blade cartridge holder. Set that aside and put the twist blade in. You just put the curvy side down and close it. I need 2 strips that are about 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to line that up there. Make sure it's on that grid line all the way down at 3/4 of an inch. And I did not press hard enough. Well, I did okay. I didn't press hard enough on that. You do need to give it a firm press with the palm of your hand. But actually, it did fine. And then I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to press a little harder this time. Just give it a firm press with the palm of my hand. And there we go. So that's all the cuts for the bottom piece. So this will be my base, and everything will come off of that. So the first thing I want to do is put my red cardstock borders behind this. So I'm going to grab this mat that we have at Creative Memories. I actually cut it down. It comes in like a big square. but I cut it down just to make it easier to use. If you don't have one of these, I'm using this because it's got a protection on it so that the repositionable tape runner kind of repels off of it. You wouldn't want to use it on your table because it would get on there. So always have something behind what you're doing. If you don't have a mat like this, or you could use a silicone mat, you could always use wax paper from home. So I want to turn this over, and I'm going to put repositionable tape runner down one vertical side in little dabs. You don't need a ton. You don't need to waste it. And then I'm going to flip this over and mount it so that some of that red peeks out past my light blue. And I'm pressing down as I go. You just want to make sure that the red is about even the way it looks. And then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Some little dabs all the way down. And I want about the same amount to show on each side. Press down as I go. And I'm using repositionable tape runner, so if I get it off center a little bit or anything, I can just pick it up and move it. I think I have more showing over here, so I'm going to pick it up and move it. I want more to show to match up. Yeah, this is going to be better. Okay, so there we go. I've got that done. It's a little bit off right there, but I'll trim it when we're done. So behind the red, I need to do the plaid. So I'm going to put some repositionable tape runner in little dabs down one vertical side and mount that on top of my plaid. And I just want it to peek out past the red to give it kind of a fun look. Press it down and make it stick. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. A lot of people ask me, Michelle, why do you cut 2 strips? Why don't you just measure it and cut 1? Doesn't that create more work? And I say I like to cut 2 strips. I want to. It's just the way I do it. Because you don't have to be exactly exact on your measurements. It gives you a little more wiggle room, and it also uses a little bit less paper. So you can see right there, like that's a strip of paper I didn't use. So there we go. So that's everything except for the gold. Now I've got my 2 strips of gold, so I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to put my repositionable tape runner little dabs all the way down. Mount this on top of the gold. There's a little bit of gold peeking out there. It's got just a subtle little design to it. I really like it. I love this collection. I think the colors are super fun. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Set my scrap aside. You want about the same amount of gold to peek out past your plaid, so it looks even. Okay, now I'm just going to rub all this one more time to make sure it's all stuck down. And then I'm going to take my micro scissors and just trim this in to kind of even it up. There's a little red sneaking out past that blue. It's not quite even right there. Again, I still see a little bit of the red. There we go. And that side looks good. Okay, so that's the base of my border. I'm going to grab a drink of water. I get thirsty when I talk a lot. Okay, so that's the base. Now we're going to work on the presents. This is the part that's a little bit more tedious, but I love how it looks, so I thought it was fun. Okay. I've already pre-cut all of this, and I'm going to show you how I did it and put it on a, this is one of the power layout guides that goes with our power layout kit. It's plastic. And so I put it on here because it'll peel right off of it since it's plastic, because I use the repositionable tape runner. But I went ahead and cut some pieces to show you, but then I'm going to show you how I got to this point here. Okay. First thing, I'm going to grab this. So I need to cut all of these pieces. Now, I'm not going to cut all of those on this video. I've already pre-cut them, but I'll show you how I did one of them. These are the stacked packages, and these are the colors I cut. So I did a dark green, a cranberry, a Kelly green, a red, and a gold shimmer. And I had those stored in these things. These are called, I can't remember what they're called. They're sleeves that go in our sort and stash binder. And this one is in the mid, is perforated in the middle. So you can put two vertical things. There's two vertical pockets is what I'm trying to say. And it's the same way on the other side. So it was a good place to store this. And then when I'm done with this, I can put this in my sort and stash binder. Okay, it's late and I'm talking a lot, so my words are going together. So, okay, so I'm going to show you how to just cut one of these stacked presents borders. Let's do a green one. Okay, so I'm going to take my border maker system and the stacked presents cartridge and put it in here with the two metal pieces sticking out. I'm going to open my paper tray holder, open my magnetic arm, put my cardstock in and line it up with the edges of the tray. Now, this is not a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. I'm using scrap because I don't need to do a whole 12 by 12 piece because I'm going to cut this apart and just use pieces of it. So this is plenty long. Now, I'm going to put the cardstock right here. I start closest to me and I make sure my notches match up. Let me hold it up so you can see that. There's a blue notch and a white notch and they match up. And when they do, these metal pieces stick into grooves underneath and you just feel it fall into place. So I'm going to punch. I'm going to pull out, match my notches up, punch, match my notches up. Everything fits underneath and I'm going to punch and I'm going to do that all the way down. So I got my green one and I'm going to keep all these scraps because I'm going to use some of them. So I'm just going to scoop them into a tray down here. And that is my green stacked presents. Okay, so let's set this aside. Clean this off a little bit. Okay. Now, I'm actually going to cut these apart. This is intended to be a vertical stack presents border, but I wanted to turn it into a horizontal. And to do that, I needed to cut them apart. So this just shows you don't have to stick with the border maker cartridges the way they are. You can change it up once you punch your border. Now, I want to get one of these little striped presents. So I'm going to take my micro scissors and I'm going to go around the little bow. I hope y'all can see that. And just kind of make it look like the outline of a bow. And then cut it straight. And then cut it straight at the bottom. And now I have a little green package. Okay, so here we go. And you know what? I did green and I don't even use a green one, but that's okay. We're just going to show you how it works. Sorry about that. So let's say I wanted to put red behind this green. It would need to be this size right here, okay? So I'm going to cut these little triangles to 9/16 of an inch by 11/16 of an inch, okay? So I would take red and I would use my ruler. And I'm going to do this old school, just with a ruler and a pen. And I would normally do it with a pencil if I were doing it myself so I could erase it. But since I'm showing this on a video, I want to use a pen. So I'm just going to measure. And this does get tedious. Once you cut one, then you can just use it as your sample to cut the rest. So I need it to be the rectangle 9/16 of an inch. So let's do that. Let's go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9/16 of an inch. I'm gonna do it so we can cut a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. 6, 7, 8, 9. It's that little line past the long one right here. Okay, so that's 9/16 of an inch. I'm going to cut that with my trimmer. Again, this is the tedious kind of stuff I normally don't do, but I just wanted to have fun with these packages. So I want to line my pin line up with this left-hand side dotted line on the top and on the bottom. There's a left-hand side dotted line on this mat strip. There's 2 dotted lines. I go by the left-hand side because that's where my blade comes down. I'm going to close this. I need to put my straight blade back in here because I still have the twist blade. So I'm going to lift that up, put this in curvy side down and close it and cut. So now I have my little 9/16 of an inch little strip. Now, again, this is tedious, but it's cute. So I'm going to measure this to 11/16 of an inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then I'm just going to use my scissors on that. And then I'm going to use the flip side without the pin on it. And then that's how I got my little rectangle that's this size. Now, the reason it has to be precise on the measurement is because I'm going to put this behind this little present and mount it so that you can't see through it. You just see red through it. So let's grab my mat again, get another drink of water, get my repositionable tape runner, and I'm going to generously put repositional tape runner on the back here. And then I'm going to flip it over and just put this red. You want it to be so that you still see green all the way around so the red won't poke out the edges. And there you go. So that is how you do your little, I did that on the wrong side. My adhesive is on this side. Okay, so let's do it on this side. So again, you want a little green to show all the way around so it won't poke out past it. There's just a little smidge. Okay, so that's how you do your packages, okay? And I would do, I put red behind the dark green, green behind the red, and red behind the gold. And that's these packages right here. You just alternate them, okay? And then the rest is, I'm going to show you how to do these little packages. And they are cut to 10/16 by 10/16 of an inch. 10/16 by 10/16. So I will cut that with the, let's do a green one, because there is a green one, this little green one. And I'm going to measure, you know, I'm not going to go through all of that because you saw how I measured the other one. This I'm just going to measure 10/16 by 10/16. So, and then cut it the same way. And once you cut one, you can just use it as your pattern to cut the rest. So you don't have to keep measuring. So anyway, this is the little 10/16 by 10/16 little pieces. So what I would do, let's take this green one, for example, or let's take the gold one. And look, notice how there's that little bow on there. That is why I said keep your trash from when you use your border maker system. And I'm going to look in this trash bin. I've been playing with this a lot. I'm going to grab, if I can find it, which I don't know, a lifter stick. Yeah, here it is. This is a lifter stick, and I love it. So I need this little red bow right here. Normally I would, back in the day, I would wet my finger to grab it, but that's kind of gross and germy, so I use this. It's called a lifter stick, and it's kind of gummy, and you just do that, and it lifts up these little tiny things. So I'm going to put the lid back on it, and I need to put this little bow, little tiny bow, on this little square. So I'm just going to take it and hold it with my thumb and use my repositionable tape runner and put it on my little square so it looks like a little package. See, isn't that cute? And I need to snip it just a little because I didn't get that 100% straight. And that is how I got my little packages. So the little square ones and these. So that's how you do that using your Border Maker scraps. And then you alternate them to look like this. Okay? Now, we're almost done. So I'm going to take this that I built for you all, and I'm just going to take these that I've already prepared and mount them on here like the sample at the top. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to show you. So I would start with that one, and I alternated the colors like they go. Now that red is trying to stick on there. There we go, I got it. And then you would just alternate these as you go. A little gold package with a green bow, a red package with green underneath. There we go. And I think you now get the idea. Then I just would go all the way down until it looks like this. And I did make these so that some of the bows were on the left side and some were on the right, just to change it up, left, right. So depending on how I put my tape runner on there, I would flip some of them over so it would end up looking like this. So again, it was a tedious process with all those little pieces, but it was fun, and every now and then I like to do something like that. And I know some of you really like detailed things, so hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you have fun making Christmas pages. Thanks for watching my video.